Hello, before we get started on today's edition of the Local Government News Roundup, which is brought to you by the Victorian Local Governance Association, a word about the VLGA's Mayoral Leadership Program, a popular choice for mayors and deputy mayors wanting to ensure they meet the Victorian Government's mandatory professional development requirements. It not only provides mayors and deputy mayors with the skills they need to carry out their roles with a high degree of competency, but it also presents an opportunity to foster and strengthen connections and establish support networks at the beginning of their term. Mayors and deputy mayors have until the end of December to complete this training. Places for the tailored VLGA program, which directly aligns with the mandatory requirements, are limited, so secure your place now before it's too late. And now let's get on with today's edition of the Local Government News Roundup, brought to you by the VLGA with support from Symphony 3. Coming up, a Whittlesea street faces a name change. Surf Coast's vacant ward seat filled after a second countback. Victorian councils elect new mayors. An ambitious plan to transform car parks into 18-storey apartment towers. A Shoalhaven Councillor appears in court and resigns immediately. Clarence Valley's mayor condemns an MP for misuse of parliamentary privilege. Shellharbour appoints its new CEO. And residents threatening to dump rubbish at a council chambers over a cashless tip policy. Hello, I'm Chris Eddy. Welcome to the Local Government News Roundup. News from and about councils across Australia and beyond. Also today, the UK Council spending £200,000 correcting a typing error. Our podcast is brought to you by the Victorian Local Governance Association, the national broadcaster on all things local government, with support from Symphony 3, simple, connected customer experiences. Welcome along to the Friday 7th of November edition of the Roundup, starting as we always do with our Victorian report. A street in Whittlesea City Council named after Prince Andrew could be changed after King Charles stripped his brother of royal titles. According to 9 News, the council says it's received inquiries from locals about finding a new name for Prince Andrew Avenue in Lalor. The council has engaged Geographic Names Victoria about the issue and says it needs to demonstrate support from a majority of residents to proceed. Phoebe Crockett has been selected to fill the vacant Torquay ward position on Surf Coast Shire Council, following a second countback this week. The Bellarine Times reported the Anglesea resident and Greens member received over 1,500 first preference votes in last year's election. The VEC confirmed the election of Ms Crockett yesterday after she completed her declaration of qualification within the required 48 hours. The vacancy follows Rebecca Burke's resignation in September, less than a year into her first term. A previous countback saw Eric Minogue selected, but he opted not to take the seat due to work commitments. Here now are the latest mayoral election results from around Victoria. Councillor Debbie Taylor-Haynes has been elected Mayor of Bayside City Council. The Beckett Ward representative steps up from Deputy Mayor and takes over from Hannah El Mualim in the mayoralty. Councillor Dennis Heslin has been re-elected Mayor of Southern Grampians Shire Council for the next 12 months. Councillor Helen Henry was elected Deputy Mayor after 12 months in which the council had chosen not to have a deputy. Councillor Tim Mear has been re-elected to serve as Mayor of West Wimmera Shire Council for another 12 months. It's the fourth time Councillor Mear has held the position since first being elected to council in 2020. Councillor Helen Hobbs was elected Deputy Mayor. And in results from last night at Manningham City, Councillor Jim Grivis has been elected Mayor, taking over from Councillor Deidre Diamenti, who will support the new Mayor in the Deputy Mayor role. And at the City of Melton, the council has gone with experience, appointing Councillor Lara Carley as its new mayor. She served as mayor twice before and deputy mayor on 3 occasions. Councillor Dr Philip Zada was elected to serve as deputy mayor. As we receive those results, we're updating our Victorian Mayor's page on the LG News Roundup website if you'd also like to keep up to date with mayoral election results from around Victoria. Many to come yet as we work through all 79 councils. To other news, and Marybeck City Council has unveiled plans to transform 6 council-owned car parks in central Coburg into more than a dozen apartment towers. The Age reported that the ambitious redevelopment would deliver over 1,000 homes, with towers ranging from 7 to 18 stories. The council is aiming for up to 30% of new homes to be social and affordable housing. The project includes a $60 million library, shops, parks and multi-deck car parking, and it could take 10 to 15 years to fully deliver. The Mayor of Wangaratta, Irene Grant, says council resources will be stretched thin preparing for the rollout of a solar farm development the community doesn't want. Councillor Grant was speaking after the Planning Minister approved the Meadow Creek Solar Farm against the wishes of more than 500 formal objectors, including the council. Councillor Grant said it was obvious the state government is prepared to sacrifice the beautiful King Valley and the northeast of Victoria for some very dubious renewable targets. The City of Melbourne's new community safety officers have begun patrolling inner-city hotspots. According to CBD News, 11 uniformed officers are working 7 days a week in what Lord Mayor Nick Rees says is the biggest shake-up to safety arrangements since PSOs were introduced almost 15 years ago. The officers have powers to enforce local laws, issue directions and make arrests, and they're equipped with protective vests, body cameras and handcuffs. The $2 million program drew more than 600 applications for the 11 roles. Meanwhile, The Age has reported on Wyndham City Council's 6-month trial of private security patrols in Truganina at a cost to ratepayers of $372,000. 2 marked patrol cars will operate between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m, with unarmed officers trained to call police when they spot suspected crimes. Critics have slammed the initiative as a leaf blower solution that will simply push problems into neighbouring areas. The proposal divided the council, ultimately passing by 6 votes to 5. Warrnambool City Council is reportedly seeking a new builder and operator for its affordable housing project after the original community housing provider withdrew. The Standard reported that the project, which received fast-track state approval in October, will deliver up to 50 modular homes on former sale yards land in Dennington. The council hopes to award a contract by next March for the development, which is one of 4 key worker housing projects underway in the city. Frankston and Kingston councils have signed a Nepean partnership to meet regularly and collaborate on future projects. The agreement was officially signed off by both councils at their respective public meetings last week, according to Bayside News. A partnership steering group comprising each council's mayor, CEO and key officers will meet quarterly to oversee implementation. Mornington Peninsula Shire has reportedly backed out of the partnership amid a bit of fallout with Frankston Council over a recent advocacy trip to Canberra. Rounding up more Victorian Council news in brief, Whitehorse City Council and Deakin University have signed a 5-year MOU to strengthen their partnership. Mayor Andrew Davenport says the agreement provides a framework to boost outcomes across employment, education, training, community health and wellbeing and the environment. Greater Dandenong City Council has won the 2025 Cities Litter Award at the Keep Australia Beautiful Victoria Tidy Towns and Cities Sustainability Awards. The council's waste services team was recognised for their Bin It or Take It Home With You campaign. And Knox City Council is seeking community feedback on its draft councillor expenses and support policy. The review includes proposals for new councillor listening posts to enhance community engagement. Community feedback closes on the 30th of November. Support for the Local Government News Roundup comes from Symphony 3. Their Smart Glue solution helps councils deliver simple, connected customer experiences, like Ballina Shire Council in New South Wales, who recently streamlined and automated their register of payments, delivering a beautiful online experience to citizens and giving a positive return on investment within 5 weeks. Smart Glue eliminates 30 to 40 minutes of manual labour per payment at Ballina. With over 8,000 payment transactions per annum, this new service eliminates over 5,000 hours of manual labour per annum. Visit www.symphony3.com to learn how Smart Glue can work for you. Heading our New South Wales report this Friday, Shoalhaven City Councillor Jason Cox has resigned with immediate effect. Mayor Patricia White released a statement yesterday confirming the resignation after discussions with Mr Cox earlier that day. Mayor White said there were matters before the court about which she could not make any further comment. But the South Coast Register reported that Mr Cox faced Nowra local court on Wednesday, charged with common assault and damaging property valued at less than $2,000 following an incident on Tuesday night. It's the second councillor resignation in recent months at Shoalhaven, following that of Natalie Johnson in August, and it will be the third time a recount will be needed since the elections last year. Clarence Valley Mayor Ray Smith has condemned New South Wales Greens MLC Dr Amanda Cohn for what he calls a blatant misuse of parliamentary privilege. Dr Cohn used Parliament last month to allege misconduct and dysfunction within the council, based on discussions with Deputy Mayor Greg Clancy. An extraordinary council meeting descended into chaos with members of the public ejected and 2 councillors walking out. Councillors voted 7-2 to support a complaint to the Parliamentary Ethics Committee. The Mayor says he'll lodge a citizen's right of reply to correct the record and defend the council's achievements. Muswellbrook Shire Council has launched an independent investigation into the Richard Gill School's transfer to the Melos Education Group. Mayor Jeff Drayton says an external investigator with legal expertise will examine the gifting of land and money when the school was established, as well as board decisions. The move follows strong community concern over a lack of transparency in the transfer process. Shellharbour City Council has appointed Wade Peterson as its new Chief Executive Officer. Mr Peterson has been acting CEO since February and previously served as Executive Director of Business Enterprises. The 45-year-old Illawarra local started his career at the council as an engineering cadet in 2000. Mayor Chris Homer says Peterson's leadership and strategic vision will be invaluable for the city's future. Motorists in Western New South Wales are being urged to be truck-aware as harvest season brings increased heavy vehicle movements on rural roads. Wheddon Shire Council has shared information about the Be Truck-Aware campaign, which will use radio, social media and variable messaging signs to remind drivers to take extra care, wear seatbelts and manage fatigue. Transport for New South Wales says 85% of fatal crashes on country roads involve a country resident. Balranald Shire Council is cracking down on unmetered water theft across Balranald and Euston town sites. The council says unmetered water use occurs when water is accessed without an operational meter or council approval and may be treated as water theft under relevant legislation. The unauthorised use places an unfair burden on the community and compromises water management systems. The council is conducting a follow-up program to ensure accurate water usage recording and fairness in billing. And Maitland City Council says it's made great strides towards a greener future in the 2 years since adopting its first environmental sustainability strategy. The council will switch to 100% renewable energy across all facilities from January 1st, and it's upgraded 5,000 streetlights to LEDs. More than 13,000 native seedlings have been planted across biodiversity corridors, with over 1,100 volunteer hours logged at community events. Rounding up more New South Wales Council briefs, Kiama Council is warning that its post office box was compromised between Monday morning and Tuesday morning this week. Mail items in transit to council during that window may have been impacted. Residents who posted mail to council in recent days have been urged to contact its customer service team to confirm receipt. A dead tree along the New England Highway at East Maitland has been painted bright blue as part of a grassroots mental health awareness initiative. Maitland City Council has partnered with the Blue Tree Project to spark conversations about mental health and remind the community they're not alone. And Wagga Wagga City Council has completed the first stage of its Lake Albert Pipeline and Precinct Renewal project, with embankment stabilisation works addressing erosion around the lake. The broader project includes remediation of 2.7 kilometres of foreshore and construction of a 6.2 kilometre pipeline from the Murrumbidgee River. This is episode number 514 of the Local Government News Roundup. There's another local government-focused podcast that I'm involved with also. It's called VLGA Connect. There's a new episode of that coming up on YouTube later today, as well as a podcast version. This week, Julie Reid, our resident planning expert, joins me to unpack those massive planning reforms that have been introduced to the Victorian Parliament recently. Time for our Queensland report, and Cassowary Coast Council has deferred a cemetery policy after heated debate over vases, according to the Cairns Post. Councillors clashed over proposed rules that would ban glass or breakable items, including vases, from graves. Deputy Mayor Nick Purvan wanted vases removed from the banned list, saying they've been a tradition for years, while others were reportedly confused about the distinction between glass items and vases. The policy will be redrafted after councillors couldn't reach agreement and voted to defer the decision. North Burnett Regional Council has voted to shift Australia Day celebrations to local towns. The council will continue managing Australia Day awards, but it's handing over event hosting to community organisations in 6 major towns from next year. Local award winners will be presented their awards in their own communities by divisional councillors. The move aims to give communities ownership of the day and allow them to celebrate in ways that suit their preferences. The Whitsundays will welcome back free travellers from April next year. It's reopening Proserpine's RV rest stop for the dry season, offering 48-hour stopovers for self-contained vehicles. Whitsunday Regional Council modelling predicts the move could inject up to $1.7 million annually into the local economy. Mayor Ry Collins says it's a small investment with a big return for local businesses. Ipswich City Council has reviewed its cyber security policy as part of its 4-year improvement cycle. The update reflects the rapidly changing digital landscape, particularly the rise of artificial intelligence. Councillor Paul Tully says local governments are increasingly targeted by cyber criminals, and the revised policy emphasises the role of all staff, contractors and volunteers in protecting the organisation. The City of Moreton Bay's first dedicated wildlife hospital is a step closer to reality. The council has granted the Wildlife Hospital Foundation a $1 per year lease for land at Dacabin. The facility will treat injured native animals locally, cutting travel times of up to 2 hours. The state government recently committed $15 million to the project. And Sunshine Coast residents can now access instant development guidance through a new AI-powered tool. The AI Development Assistant helps homeowners understand planning requirements for projects like sheds, granny flats and renovations. Mayor Rosanna Natoli says the service is available anytime, making the process less stressful and confusing. Whipping around the other states now, starting in Tasmania, Burnie residents are threatening to dump rubbish at council chambers over a new cashless tip policy, according to Pulse Tasmania. From next Monday, the Moreville Road Waste Facility will stop accepting cash payments. Angry locals say the move will make the facility inaccessible to elderly residents and those without cards. Some have warned the policy could lead to more illegal dumping in bushland, but the council says the change improves safety and efficiency. West Coast Council's General Manager Scott Riley is defending the organisation after nearly a third of its 75-strong workforce resigned this year. Mr Riley says the turnover is completely expected during periods of change, and he's refuted union claims of cultural problems. The departures come amid administrative blunders, including a week-long vehicle registration lapse and accidental publication of confidential information about sexual harassment claims. Mr Riley told ABC News he welcomes any investigation into the council's operations. To South Australia, and the Local Government Association there has launched a research project to measure the economic and social value of community centres across the state. Councils will soon receive surveys to gather data on services and programs offered at both council-owned and independent centres. South Australia is the only state where half of all community centres receive no baseline government funding, forcing councils and volunteers to bridge the gap. The research will build an evidence base to support advocacy for fair funding, with other states already providing universal baseline support. Wattle Range Council is installing 4 electric vehicle charging points at its new Millicent office on North Terrace, according to a report from South East Voice. The building came in $450,000 under its $10 million budget, allowing the council to pursue additional green initiatives. Solar panels generating 130 kilowatts of power will be installed in the car park, meeting 80% of the office's energy needs. In Western Australia, the Local Government Minister Hannah Beazley has announced the establishment of new collaborative roundtables for the sector. The initiative will explore long-term sustainability and strengthen collaboration between local and state government. The roundtables follow advocacy by LG Professionals WA as part of their submission on the proposed Local Government Amendment Bill. The Shire of Manjimup has approved plans to convert a suburban home into accommodation for 9 seasonal farm workers. ABC Southwest reported the decision comes as the region faces tight housing conditions, with a similar approval recently granted for a 12-worker camp on a rural property. Local residents have raised concerns about increased noise, traffic safety risks and disruption to the neighbourhood's character, and councillors were divided on the issue, with the Shire President casting the deciding vote. The approval is valid for 12 months, during which time the Shire will develop a policy on workforce accommodation. And congratulations to the CEO of the town of East Fremantle, Jonathan Throssell, who's been awarded life membership by Local Government Professionals WA. With over 30 years in local government, Mr Throssell has held CEO positions at the shires of Derby, West Kimberley and Mundaring. Time for the global report, and I want to start in the USA with some mayoral election results for you. The one that's got a lot of attention is that of New York City, where more than 2 million New Yorkers voted in this year's mayoral race, the highest turnout since 1969, according to the New York Times. Democrat Zoran Mamdani defeated former Governor Andrew Cuomo and Republican Curtis Sliwa in a competitive 3-way contest. Experts credit the surge in voting to stronger candidate matchups, increased Asian American political engagement and a return to competitive races. But there were many other municipal elections this week. Here are a few of the results that have caught our eye. Incumbent Democratic Mayor Aftab Puraval has defeated Republican challenger Corey Bowman in Cincinnati's mayoral race. Puraval, who first took office in 2022, won the all-party primary back in May with more than 80% of the vote. The city also elected 9 council members from a field of 26 candidates, with Democrats dominating the local races, according to WLWT.com. In Louisville, North Carolina, voters have chosen Democrat Billy Carter for mayor, while the 6 council seats were evenly split between Democrats and Republicans. The historic election marks a shift for the small town as it manages rapid growth, as reported by Journal Now. Detroit City Council President Mary Sheffield has defeated megachurch pastor Reverend Solomon Kinloch to become the city's first woman mayor. Sheffield will replace 3-term Mayor Mike Duggan, who's running for Michigan governor as an independent. And in Scranton, Pennsylvania, Democrats Patrick Flynn, Tom Schuster and Sean McAndrew won all 3 contested city council seats in Tuesday's election. Council President Jared Smurl, running as an independent, lost his re-election bid after dropping out of the Democratic primary. Mayor Paige Gebhardt Cognetti won her own re-election in a landslide, according to the Times Tribune. Now let's go to the UK, where there's good news and not so good news from UK councils this episode. Starting with the not so good, Newcastle City Council's legal department is facing a budget overrun of £773,000 this year, bringing total costs to £2.5 million. The bill has surged due to a sharp rise in repair claims on council homes, now reaching 80 per month compared to 50 per year previously. Staff shortages have forced the council to hire expensive agency workers after recruitment campaigns failed. Councillors have called the figures quite shocking as legal staffing problems persist. More on that story from BBC News. Also from the BBC, Bristol City Council has spent nearly £200,000 correcting a typing error on council tax bills. Residents receive bills with correct amounts, but percentage increases for police and fire services were accidentally swapped. The The council has now introduced additional sign-off steps to prevent similar mistakes. Dorset Council plans to sell off 78 unused sites over the next 5 years to raise £46.7 million. The assets include old garages, vacant offices, former school sites and parcels of land. The council says the move will unlock opportunities for new homes and make every penny count. And now for some better news out of UK councils. Norfolk County Council has rolled out artificial intelligence technology to analyse care records of 12,000 elderly and vulnerable adults. The AI system identifies those most at risk of falling, prompting social workers to review care plans and install safety equipment like grab rails. The authority says around 40% of care home admissions follow a fall, with thousands of hospital admissions annually related to falls. BBC News reported the successful pilot involving 1,250 residents has now been expanded county-wide. From Canada, London City Council in Ontario has voted 9-6 in favour of a 35% pay hike for councillors next term, raising their base pay to over $94,000. The increase ties councillor salaries to the 70th percentile of full-time income in London. Deputy Mayor and Budget Chair roles will see an additional 8% boost, but the council rejected a proposal to introduce severance pay for defeated members and extra compensation for committee chairs, according to CTV News. Vancouver City Council has approved budget overruns totalling $21.6 million for police and fire services. The Vancouver Police Department went $17 million over budget, largely due to overtime costs and the controversial task force barrage on the downtown east side. Opposition councillors criticised the $5 million task force for bypassing proper approval processes through the police board and council. Mayor Ken Sim acknowledged mistakes were made in the approval process. To New Zealand, Wellington City Council has admitted a major blunder that saw 172 drivers wrongly fined for speeding. 9 News reported the council failed to properly register a 50 km/h speed limit change, meaning the signs weren't legally enforceable. At least one driver lost their licence due to the error before police were alerted and stopped issuing tickets. Police have now refunded all fines and the speed limit signs have been removed until the issue is resolved. And the fit-out of Wellington Council's new headquarters is taking shape. The building will house 1,200 staff and consolidate workers currently spread across multiple temporary locations. The council says it's saving between $140 and $160 million over the lease term. Staff will begin moving in early 2026, coinciding with the reopening of the Central Library and Civic Square. And that brings us to the end of another week of the Local Government News Roundup, this edition number 514, recorded on the morning of the 7th of November. Comments and feedback can be sent by email to lgweeklynews@gmail.com, and you can find out more about this episode, including all the story links, by heading to www.lgnewsroundup.com. Our podcast is brought to you by the Victorian Local Governance Association, your councillor support network, with support from Symphony 3, simple connected customer experiences. The Roundup is recorded in the city of Greater Geelong, Victoria, on the land of the Wadawurrung people of the Kulin Nation. We come your way every Monday, Wednesday and Friday. That means I'll be back on Monday. Until then, thanks for listening and bye for now. Support for our podcast comes from Symphony 3, which has announced exciting news. It's launched its innovative Smart Glue platform on the AWS marketplace. That makes the secure and affordable integration solution accessible to government agencies worldwide. The platform includes over 50 pre-built connectors specifically designed for public sector systems, government APIs, enterprise solutions and AWS services to transform citizen experiences by breaking down data silos. Smart Glue delivers operational excellence for local governments through cost reduction, process optimization, improved decision-making and scalable architecture, all while maintaining comprehensive security and compliance standards required by public sector organisations. Get in touch to see how Symphony 3's expanded team and solutions can support your goals. Head to symphony3.com to find out more.